All right, we're back. Welcome to Hero Labs Live with RT, your host on Hero Labs. Good to see you guys on Friday. Scott, Urea, Brad Garlic House, and Chris in August. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the studio today. A lot of things going on as usual. Crypto never stops. I haven't slept in 17 weeks. Just kidding. I actually did get some good sleep yesterday. You know what I did? I left my phone down in the lab. I just was like, you know what? I'm not bringing this to bed tonight because I keep waking up. If I wake up for even a split second in the middle of the night, I can't help myself. I roll over, I check something. Suddenly I'm like responding to notifications. It's ridiculous. So last night I had a really good sleep. And then at 7 a.m., instead of laying in bed for an hour on my phone, I just went right back down to see Bitcoin making yet another all-time high. I've been playing around with this chart here today. Look at the moon landing today. Some kind of moon landing in the news. I don't get time to read the news, but it sounds like there's a rover on Mars and they may have discovered a little something up there. We're playing around with that. Let's mess around with this chart today just for fun. Bitcoin cycles. I noticed that the last cycle percentage gain was only 25% of the one previous. In other words, 4 times smaller. Is this one going to be 4 times smaller? Because if it is, that paints a rough top on Bitcoin around $103,000, which to me would be like maybe front around 100K. But who knows? This is all conjecture. It's all bullshit, but just for fun. If we were to extrapolate previous move, I mean, we only have 2 cycles to work with, really, on this chart anyways. So, and if we're looking then at an 86 or 84% drawdown from the highs, maybe the next bear market ends with a big, deep, dirty, dark dump into 20K. Who knows? It's going to be interesting to watch. Interestingly, speaking of interesting, we are right at a 1.8. That thing happened. Okay, we're back. Okay, we're going to drop Safari here. And we're back. We're back. Da-na-na. Is it? Sorry, guys. Safari, we've been running a double browser as like a little cheat code so I could have my face on the bottom left of this chart through while the producer's hosting. It's our little workaround. But the audio feed is running through Safari, and Safari is Safari, so it just crashed. Anyways, we're back. All right, so just the chart today, and that's fine. We'll flip back to the studio a little later, like we always used to. If you see here, December 16th was like the big 20K, post 20K breakout on Bitcoin. What was Ethereum doing on that day? What did I just say? December 16th. Let's go look at Ethereum. On December 16th, it's January, December 16th, Ethereum did break out, but then, it really lagged here. While Bitcoin was just off making crazy new highs, Ethereum was just kind of hanging out. It wasn't until like 2 weeks later that Ethereum just exploded. So something to keep in mind as we watch Bitcoin today has, it's having its big breakout, or whatever you want to call it, continuation. And Ethereum is slowly working its way behind. And one way to keep an eye on that ratio, obviously, is with this chart, the ETH BTC chart. It's probably the one I've looked at most today. Not a great daily candle on this one, as far as like trying to bottom off of this SR flip. Zoomed in, obviously, this is the one I've been tracking most. Let's go look at the weekly. So this is the ETH chart. Let's stretch it out. Where was my fit zone here? So many moving parts. Let's just call it here to drag this up. This weekly breakout level and then coming back into the pump chaser zone, that's pretty standard. Sort of what I talked about after we had this break. I said, look, we could teleport straight up. Obviously, that's possible. But what's more likely to me is that we come back and get a little test in, clean things up a little bit. This chart for the last 2 years has never really been in a rush to get anywhere. You can see that bottom consolidation took almost 700 days. Even right here last summer, just before the big breakout, was 56 days of sideways. And so with this big breakout, I'm like, yeah, that's great. This is really bullish. I think it's going to outperform Bitcoin over the year. But a few weeks of drawdown so is not that unexpected. So really, this is a key level now, right? So we've had our big breakout. We've had sort of a drawback down. We're into the pump chaser zone on that last chart. So I really want to know what's going to happen at this level. And this daily candle does not look too promising at this moment. It was kind of like, hey, look at that. We're breaking up. And then today, Bitcoin just took off and ETH did not keep up. Binance Chain, obviously, is taking a lot of its, eyeballs right now. BNB has captured people's imaginations. Pancake Swap, off the charts. All kinds of these BSC projects going crazy. And in the moment, that's fine. They have the most users in the world. People are making money over there. They're happy with it. But you got to remember that I think there's like 21 nodes running the Binance Smart Chain. It is an extension of a centralized entity, and that's fine. Amazon is centralized. Did you pass an Amazon stock because of that, right? There are ways to make money with things that are centralized. But the wrapping protocol on Binance Smart Chain is not open, right? They control who gets to wrap and who gets to join. It's essentially an extension of their exchange, decentralized, or whatever you want to, decentralized with big quotation marks. And that could run into some problems. The network is definitely at a higher risk of just going down, right? Ethereum, how many nodes on Ethereum would have to go down for the network to stop working? How many nodes on Binance Smart Chain would have to go down for the network to stop working? So there are some risks. There are some things to consider. But for now, BNB is hot as fuck. It's great. Not hating. And of course, Ethereum just kind of bleeding slowly, dripping down, dripping down. It's at a very important level for me. I actually took a long this week on ETH BTC. Invalidation is pretty close. So it's one of those classic, like fairly uncomfortable positions that I'm in, which more and more I find myself like, I feel like I'm in the right place when I'm uncomfortable. But, it very easily could just sweep me out here and still go. Or worst case, even worse, just like stop me out here and then just keep bleeding down. And I actually had a big Bitcoin position into the week because of my buy stop at 50K that we talked about on Wednesday. I need to get my better Bitcoin chart back. Let's go back here. Monthly is a little too big for right now. With the break of this rising consolidation, rising wedge, whatever you want to call it, get the log off here. So yeah, with this breakout, I'm back into all, Bitcoin, like all my cash position that I built up, I put back into Bitcoin. And then I spent the first like 3 days just buying other shitcoins. So weirdly, on a day when Bitcoin is just steaming ahead, I'm actually pretty short on Bitcoin, which I realized, like, I'm not short on it, but like I'm running out. I don't have a lot. So I'm watching my Bitcoin pairs pretty closely. I moved a lot of it into FTT, which has treated me well. It's outpacing Bitcoin. That's okay. I picked up some DOT. I decided it's time for me to just commit to some of these ones that I just know, quote unquote, know are going to do well this year. Look at what DOT just did. I mean, old highs from September when it first launched versus Bitcoin. Obviously, versus USD, it's much higher now. But versus Bitcoin back here, it was trading about $4 or $5 in USD terms. Then just bled out versus Bitcoin because Bitcoin went crazy, and now it's coming back. And it just flipped the highs. And this is just parachain auctions are coming up. There's going to be a big battle to get their hands on dots so they can lease these parachains, raising thousands and thousands of dots. So I think into that event, we could see a nice run. So I put a pretty friendly chunk of Bitcoin into DOT this week. And, naturally today, some of that's getting a squeeze. In DOT's case, it's being very friendly to me, basically standing still. Another weird one that I bought some of, somebody on stream actually mentioned this. We got a lot of good ideas coming up on stream, but this one is one I actually went and bought because I don't know if this was actually from my own scan or from somebody mentioned, but somebody mentioned Sol. And I just went and looked at the chart. I said, this is the kind of thing I like. I didn't even look into the project for 1 second. I just thought, fuck it. It's a technical trade. Sell half on a double. Got long off this retest. And that puts my double somewhere up around here, which is kind of already on the way. So it's the other weird one I got. Let's see. I got a little dragon chain, which did shit the bed early. So I am actually, this is the challenging part of trading the way that I trade. You guys ready? I'll tell you one of the struggles is, okay, so this was an SR flip play. So really, with that and then the retest and fail, I should be thinking, well, my setup failed. But if I'm bullish on this one, and really it's for nothing other than the technical setup, so it's not like they have news coming up or I have something I'm excited about specifically. I used to be excited about Dragon Chain, so I don't actually know what they're doing right now. But now it's like, God, am I really going to be the guy selling in what is often my buy zone? So I wouldn't say I'm in a pickle. I sized it such that I was ready to just set and forget, wait for this double to come in. I imagine it'll happen someday. But how long do I want to wait through this? I think altcoins are going to continue to catch their bids versus Bitcoin, just usually not on the day that Bitcoin's going up $4,000. So I kind of picture something like this now, and it's just a matter of like, do I really want to overtrade this? If that's my bull case, I can be patient, I think, but that's like 3 months the way I've drawn it. So we'll see. So this is the one pickle, and it's it's the usual. It's kind of frustrating for myself because I'm an RLZ kind of guy. So should I have been getting into a setup that sets me up for something where I might even thinking about stop losses down in my own friggin' buy zone? So I did look at this on this bearish retest yesterday and was kind of inconclusive. I was like, you know what? I'm going to just, it's pretty strong bull. It's sized accordingly. I'm just going to let this run and go. And now today, of course, we're down in this reload zone. I got to figure something out. We'll see. We'll see. Might capitulate. Ask me anything. I don't know. Probably not. Probably just going to take my licks on this one and see what happens if we get up into here. Obviously, that's my double. So those are my thoughts. Sell it all, Jordan says. I don't know about that. Can you show that fib extension like you did in the last video? For sure, Samp. We'll get into that. BSC runs on Amazon servers. There you go. LOL. I know. I saw that today. SBF posting about FTX going down because of AWS. Wow. 3 acronyms in one sentence. There's crypto. And it's interesting to me, how decentralized is everything when so much runs on AWS? Something to think about. Once noticed that DOT runs and ETH runs next. It's almost like DOT leads. Yeah, well, I hope so, because I expect DOT to really run here, and I've got a monster position in both DOT and ETH. Notice it once, yeah. Okay, large hyphen, decentralized. I'm hating because I sold my BNB at 130. Yeah, well, I burned most of my BNB over the last 3 months just on fees and didn't rebuy, right? So it's great because now if I buy one BNB, it's going to stretch further because it's worth $200. It'll pay more fees. But yeah, I was burning Binance coin at like $40, $60, $90, just paying off fees. And then I went and looked. I was like, oh, I got a couple hundred BNB. Oh no. Oh, I only have 27 left because I've been trading like a maniac apparently. So note to self, replenish fee burning tokens often. Don't wait for like I usually would just do that and I would pay down the entire amount that I bought and then go buy another bag. In this case, I look now, I'm like, oh God, I have so much less BNB. Oh well. It was a great trade that I didn't take. Really easy one. Now we'll look at a couple other potential exchange tokens here that have smart chains today as well. Happy Friday. Thoughts on GRT, Eric? We're going to check that out. Producer John's been really great about collecting some of these asks from you guys and then pinning a message in the chat. And then a little bit later on, I'm going to go through and we'll get into it. Slow Pickin' asks, why not Cosmos or Polygon if you like DOT? Well, I'll have you know that I have a very sizable bag of Matic, I guess you could say, Polygon. Really bullish on them. I traded at them earlier this year, and I am holding one of their tokens, eMoney. So definitely bullish on them as well. I think they're great. Those guys are all multi-billion. You know what? Polygon is like still sub 1 billion. Let's go look at Polygon. Previously known as Matic. I mean, I think a lot of people, I said this on Wednesday, this was sort of my pick of the day. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the value that, the new direction that they're taking with Polygon, or perhaps the expanded direction that they're taking. There's a great little thread on it that was on their announcement. So if you guys want to go, inactive account. Ooh. Let's go read it. They basically came out and announced, they wrote a little thread on it. I'm pretty bullish on the narrative. And, Matic's doing a lot of good things. I think they're maybe a little marred to traders because of that big crazy dump last year. Liquidated the entire Binance margin book. So if you were part of that and you're salty, I'm with you. I feel you. That was here. Whoops. That was this thing. This thing was insane. Remember that? It was November 2019. Wow, that was a long time ago. Feels like pretty recently, but yeah, it was just this huge climb up. Everyone was super bullish on Matic, and then it just plunged the entire fucking market of itself. Like, this wasn't a market-wide dump. This was like a Matic dump. So you wake up the next day and you're just down like 85%. It was pretty gross. But the chart cleaned up. It took off. And, one thing we talked about on Wednesday was, right here, pump chaser zone continuation. I'm actually long on it from a few angles, mostly just from Bitcoin, but a little bit of USD as well. With Bitcoin performing today quite well, you're going to see this pullback. So we'll see what this consolidation looks like, but I am long from, as well. I was long from down here, and then I kind of closed some, and I'm long from here as well. I pointed to here when I said I closed some. That's where I wish I closed. Reality is I actually closed a little on the way up and then a little on the way back down. That's the way she goes. But full disclosure, I'm not perfect. Pump chaser zone is where I generally like to buy for the continuation. And because this volume came in, high volume, I expect the highs, the tops, whatever you're going to call on this, would have lower volume. This is the highest volume we've seen. That was on the Polygon announcement. So I'm bullish for continuation here on Matic. Everything depends on Bitcoin here. And I don't think we're going to see a major sort of consolidation or next stop on Bitcoin until we're up into this area. So, my altcoin versus Bitcoin pairs may be in the shit or going sideways for another week. And I have to kind of accept that. I did rush into them. I probably should have given Bitcoin a little room to breathe since I had such a big portion of my portfolio in Bitcoin to start this week. And I've basically diluted it down to altcoins very quickly. I'm addicted to shitcoins. What can I say? So that we'll check that out. Royal Fortune asked about LTC. Paul Young Jr., I see you. You're asking about XLM. We'll get into that. Take a look at low cap coin UTU. Could probably dip into the mud there with you, Jermaine. No problem. Seriously, though, there's no real value on a lot of tokens. Yep. Cbor, I think in this market state, you're going to get everything overall, kind of getting some nice bids. And then through the bear, you start to see or even sideways or whatever, you start to see who really had the value. And I've always said, and apparently not positioning my portfolio quite as aggressively in this thesis as I should have. But I've always said exchange tokens are, some of the best use cases of a token because you can trade them. This was my thesis in 2017. I bought Binance Coin at like 23 cents, BNB. And that sounds legendary. I mean, sure, it was 23 cents. It was September 2017, August even. And I was super bullish on it. I just said, oh, holy shit, this is a token that I need to save on fees. They didn't exist at the time. It was the first of its kind that I know of anyways. And that, we're seeing that with things like FTT, BNB. Now, of course, you got the smart chain coming up. We talked about a bit. And it's just insanity. I mean, talk about a pump. And this is not some, 10x on a shit coin. Like, this is a multi-billion-dollar coin that's multi-xing in 1 week. It's monstrous. It's a number 3 coin now. It just surpassed everybody. Let's just go look at the main list. I used to look on this list on CMC back in the day, like every day. It was where I went. I actually don't look at the rankings very often anymore, but look at this. Just took over Tether and Polkadot and Cardano and XRP in 1 week. Like, it just it's jumped up the charts. And if you ask CZ where he's headed, well, he'd tell you he's going to overtake Ethereum pretty soon. I don't know about all that, but you can't write it off. People are crazy. They'll buy things at high prices. This is not where I look to buy things ever. This is where I'd be paying myself at least a little bit. And in retrospect, we've talked about this 1 or 2 times. I mean, this is something that, now, look, I wouldn't bring this up to be like, why didn't I trade this? Which is secretly how some small part of me feels. I'm like, holy fuck, man, this was a sweet SR flip in a exchange that's blowing up even bigger than it already was, and it's the biggest with a smart chain. But look at this, 3 weeks. So what's next is always my question, right? I don't get lost in emotions around previous misses, but this can be a good lesson. So let's look at another coin right now. I don't own any of this, full disclosure, but I should have last week. Okex is an exchange. They have, I was actually on there the other day just kind of looking at what they've been working on. They've got a lot of stuff going on over there. I know they got volumes. People I've heard in the past, like, oh, it's wash trading, it's fake volume, but they're real trades going crazy over there. They have enough. They're based in China. Customer service, hit and miss when I first experienced that platform. But let's get down to facts. We're traders here. They have a smart chain. They have an exchange token. It's mooning. I looked at it last week at around $8. I was like, man, this is probably going to echo. I didn't know that it trades on FTX. I found that out today. Literally today. I was like, oh God. FTX has futures on it too. Could have been long with some stupid leverage. Just kidding. But putting up less capital to get the position size. Leverage is not about expanding your overall position size beyond what you could have. It's more about putting up less capital to get the same position size as you should have. So if I want, $1,000 worth of this coin, I could go to FTX and just put up $200 and go 5x leverage and not waste $1,000 sitting in this position. I could only stick in 200. So that's how I use leverage. So you know. But yeah, look at this. I mean, pump chaser zone last weekend, and let's go. So OKB is off. It's certainly lagging. So if the others dip or dump and this thing consolidates, I'll be looking for another leg on this thing. Typically, they don't come in 1 and 2. They come in, a third. Third will come in. So that's interesting. Something to think about. And then Huobi token. I actually haven't looked at that chart yet, but they have a smart chain as well. And they're on FTX. Oh, shit. Right? So this is generally how I trade. It's not about necessarily catching the first, but catching the echoes. And I'm ashamed to say I didn't catch these echoes. God, this was like yesterday, 17th. It was like 2 days ago. Anyways, there's so much going on in the market. It's hard to catch everything. It's all good. I got some positions. I've made my bets. They're paying off. It's all good. But this one, now I've moved a significant portion of my trading account over to FTX today. Not because of this though. It was actually just because I'm getting a little fed up with Binance after they went down last week at a peak time of trading that I wanted access to. Today, they were lagging, causing me all kinds of issues, while on top of that, with disabling the ERC20 withdrawals, which seemed kind of like bullshit because Ethereum wasn't congested at the time. but they paused all the things being like, due to congestion on the network. It was almost like a weird, low-key, like dirty marketing ploy. That's at least what people think. But, like, hey, look at Binance Smart Chain running perfectly on our 21 nodes, but that Ethereum thing, can't move. So I just thought, you know what? Writing is on the wall for me. I'm moving to FTX. I've still got some account stuff on Binance because, weirdly, FTX doesn't offer spot trading on DOT. I guess it's because eventually they're going to be adding, the new DOT chain. So maybe they're just waiting on that. But they have perps, but couldn't move my DOT over. But, I'll leave a little bit in the futures account at Binance, maybe a little Bitcoin for some alts that aren't on FTX. But generally speaking, I'm going to start focusing on FTX. I love what they're doing over there. They're fast. And for me, just more trustworthy. I mean, they KYC, first of all. So they're a little more in line with the law. If that shit curtain ever fell, I'd feel better off there. So anyways, long story short, looking at FTX, apparently a week late because the exchange tokens that I wanted to trade are all over there and I'm not in them. Anyways, let's get to the list here, guys. We got lots of good requests coming in. It's Friday. We've got a good half hour left to go here. And I want to get after as many of these ideas because I'll be honest, a lot of my trade ideas come from you guys. There's some really smart guys in the chat here. You guys, it's lots of eyes on this busy market. And DOT wants to rip. I agree. 1 inch. We can look at 1 inch. No lie. Gate.io. Nice. Okay. Slow Pickin says he likes Gate.io. Never used it. I feel like it used to be known as like a little shitcoin sketchy exchange, but I actually did recently hear from another circle that it's not bad either. Also heard that. Scott says, do you ever find a time when spot is better than leverage? You know what? I tend to want to stick to spot trading. I think this market is so volatile. It's so hot. And you just need to be so much more accurate when you're using leverage. And then you got fees, you got Wiki or Wix. Leverage trading, my returns, the vast majority of my returns, percentage-wise, come from spot trading. If I really crushed the books and figured it out, I bet that my leverage trading is not all that great. I get a couple nice bangers here and there, but I get chopped a lot. So one of the reasons I do like to use leverage is if I'm running shorter on capital. So it's like, I only have this much left on my Binance account. I don't really want to bunch in from my ETH wallet or something. I got, a couple grand there on the futures account. So I'm going to use a little leverage, 2, 3, 4, 5x, and I can get the position that would properly risk my account. I'll show you what that means. Just say I wanted to buy here. Not a short though. Just say I wanted to long this token here and I want my stop loss to be here. So I have 8.59% risk on that position. So if I put my entire portfolio into that, which I would never do, but theoretically, I'd be risking 8.59% of my portfolio. But I don't want to do that. Let's just say I want to risk 2% of my portfolio. And let's get a nice round number there. Just for this example, let's say this says 8. So let's say this trade setup is risking 8%. Well, I want to risk 2% of my portfolio. So I need to put in enough size into this position so that I'm doing that. But then I have to move that entire amount onto the exchange to buy spot. If I use leverage, I can move in a fraction of that amount, lever up, get that same larger position size so that I'm risking 2% of my account. And I don't need to put all that capital on the exchange. If that makes sense. So that's the tool, and that's how I use leverage personally. So yeah, to your question, I would say definitely stick to spot if you can. I mean, if you're even asking the question, it's probably best to stick to spot. Leverage trading is so advanced, guys. It's so risky. I mean, trading is risky to begin with. Adding in leverage is sexy. It's cloudy. People like to post their big fat P&Ls online, and you just think, oh man, 700% P&L. Well, the coin only moved 5%. That must have been leverage. I want to try. You'll lose money. 99 times out of 100, you'll lose money. A lot of money early on and over time. And maybe someday you get so used to it that you're like, okay, and then you're a little more pro and then you can crush it. I'm not even at a point where I'm that comfortable with it, to be honest. Like I said, I bet if I really crush the numbers, I would be disappointed in my leverage trading performance. Just being honest. So, and someone told me to stay the fuck away from it 2 years ago, and I didn't, and I went and burned like a half a Bitcoin over like 6 months. So take it from me. But some people don't listen to that advice. Like they just need to try it themselves. You got to feel the burn. So, okay. If you're that type of person, you need to lose first to really hear that word of warning, then go for it. I was that kind of guy. I had to get my ass kicked before I really took those warnings seriously. It's like, no, it won't happen to me. I can do this. And then over time, you're like, I'm just bleeding out. Fees, slippage, fees, slippage, liquidated. So, whatever you're going to do, be careful. I think this market offers so much opportunity without having to take added risk on top of the already sizable risk. Now, here's GRT. GRT last week, we talked a little bit about bearish market structure on the hourly. And it did kind of came to fruition in the sense that you got the down, you got the retest. I need to get this magnet off. So the setup kind of came in the sense that it came back up, tagged the short reload zone, barely, but it did. This is after the stream last week. And then, the setup as I draw it up would be risk to the highs and then get your 3-to-1. See if it came in. Oh, didn't come in. Would have missed the take profit by just a pip. So, but this looks like sideways consolidation now. I wouldn't be too worried about it. This looked pretty dark, especially after a little like bearish market structure top reversal there. But let's take a look here at GRT, a little more objectively. It's a new thing now. It just looks bullish. Like zooming out, and you should always start on the high time frames. Looking at the daily, it's an uptrend. Retest the 12 EMA, just kind of sideways for a bit. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see another leg in this thing from that perspective. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of this right now in altcoins where they're just kind of hanging out, going sideways. Now, because Bitcoin is going up, that means this must be going down on the BTC pair because it's not going down on the USD pair, or excuse me, up. So let's go see. I'm guessing we'll see a little downside over here. Yeah, a little bit. So something to keep in mind, are you riding the fastest horse? Is that your goal? Do you just have a dream and an image and these altcoins are, helping you paint that? In which case, ride them. But versus Bitcoin, these things can behave in very undesirable ways when Bitcoin's rallying, which it is right now. So if I had to be a betting man, I would say that Bitcoin is headed up into this zone, which is around the high 50s, low 60s. And once it gets there, I would say it's going to stall. And that would be either your Bitcoin pairs catching back up or even making new highs. So in this case, what does that look like on GRT? Well, let's get rid of all this shenanigans. And let's, we're into that pump chaser zone. There's a really sweet little flip zone down here, SR level, retesting these highs. Is that your like capitulation zone? I don't know. But I wouldn't be shocked if Bitcoin's going to go to the 60s and then we get like something like that. And then it's, whoa. A lot of people would sell here, weirdly. Not looking at charts. They would just have been watching price go down for like 7 days, 10 days. So who knows? But there's an ebb and flow to this market, right? It's never just straight up. This will chill if it's going to get newer highs. We really need to keep an eye on ETH BTC because if that breaks this level, then there's a little more price, exploring lower, which isn't great. And that's not going to age too well for altcoins. And then, of course, we come back to Papa Dominance. And it looks like it's kind of rounding off here. And it's coming right into this Wyckoff throwback. This was the summer bull market for altcoins. Then they stalled in September and really shit out like mid-August even, right here. And then it just kind of chilled for a bit. And altcoins through this were actually getting hurt pretty bad. Even though dominance kind of moved sideways, altcoins were really shit in the bed here. And then, of course, they just got absolutely decimated through the end of the year. So, is this the stall out here for a little bit and then we're sideways and then they get decimated, or do we continue? I don't know. I would be leaning towards continue. for all coins, like upwards. But that's just my opinion. I don't have any evidence of that. We'll have to see how this goes. So yeah, GRT. I think now that Bitcoin is in a crazy bull, we should probably be charting versus Bitcoin. I don't know what you guys think. LTC. Okay, for today, I'll stick to the Bitcoin pairs today. I don't think it's any secret that we'll see a red candle on just about every coin versus Bitcoin today. I'm sure if we look at the leaderboard, there's some exceptions, but Litecoin is doing this versus Bitcoin. It's just trending down. There's a chance that it's reversing its trend down here. That's that's what you want to see here. You need a trend reversal. Right now, it's just kind of sideways chop. And most notably, like even as recently as February 9th, it made a low. So I personally don't love Litecoin. I know versus USD, it's lagging. So there's this idea that it'll catch up. It is making new highs. So, power on. But I don't find LTC very sexy. It's pretty liquid and it's fast. But I don't know that it's necessary, and I don't get a real bullish feeling about the narrative around it. So I probably won't trade it. But it is, it's trending up, it's making highs, but then just checking versus Bitcoin, are you better off just sitting in Bitcoin? Well, probably about break even right here for the last 6 months. And break even is not terrible, but it's not that sexy. Those are my thoughts on Litecoin. Don't come to me if you want to see a Litecoin bull. I just, it's probably going to go up with everything else, but doesn't stand out as very special to me at all. Never did. Not even in 2017 when it went crazy. So you're talking to the guy who missed that one too. So be aware. But Stellar, what do I got going on to this chart? I don't know. Let's go see. Old ink. Oh, interesting. It's right at this level that I had drawn up quite a while ago, actually. I drew this level up back here in July because there was this really nice bottom formation accumulation on Stellar, and then it broke out, and I was like, oh my God, we're going ham. But then Bitcoin decided to be a big bull. And, then Ripple pumped. And actually, where was the Ripple pump? Probably here. So, of course, Stellar echoed it. But we were kind of like resting on that level now. So that's interesting. Let's do a better chart, though. Let's chart it up. Okay, distracted. B2 wins says, yo, RT, what's up with market caps? Isn't this a bogus arbitrary number? Total circulating times the last traded price. That doesn't convey value at all. We always talk about market caps, but they seem to be pointless. Okay, B21 or B2 wins. I'll tell you what. That's an interesting point. First of all, it's something that you get in legacy finance, right? So with stocks, it's like number of shares outstanding times price of the share. That value is the company. That's where you say like, oh, this is $1 trillion company. So there is a precedent there. And within crypto, the reason we talk about market caps, at least the reason I talk about them, most people do, is because you might say let's talk about DOT and then talk about Cosmos. So DOT, you'll look at this. There's a lot of DOT bulls. Price has been going up. It's worth almost $33 billion. Every single DOT that exists times the price, or at least the circulating supply times the price. That gives you roughly what it's being valued at as an asset, which makes sense. That's reasonable. But then you go down here and you look at Cosmos. People might draw comparisons. They might say, well, look, Cosmos and Atom are doing interoperability. They have a lot of people building on them. They're going to have bridging protocols. They're going to link different chains together. They should be valued just like Polkadot. They are equally, they're badass. Why are they only $5.3 billion? They're undervalued. Speculators see that. They say, oh, look at this. So undervalued versus Polkadot. So in that sense, market caps give us a really good way to compare on an even playing ground. For example, Chainlink is worth $34, but EOS is only worth $5. But we know that that's not a fair comparison because EOS has way more coins in circulation. I don't think it shows it here, but they have way more coins in circulation than, say, Chainlink. XRP is probably the best example of this, right? XRP is a 56-cent coin, but their market cap is $25 billion. What does that tell you? Well, they have tons of circulation, tons of coins in circulation. They're a penny coin, so to speak. But when you don't look at market cap, you do what guys did in 2017. They come in and they say, like, you know, I can't even find it now. It's so far off the leaderboard. But there was this one. What was it called? It was like some super shitcoin, but it had like a huge supply. And so it had this massive market cap. I mean, I guess even Dogecoin here would be like, Dogecoin is a 5-cent coin, but it's 13. It's a 7 billion market cap, right? But people don't know that. When I say people, like noobs, randoms, TikTokers, whatever, they come in, they say, oh my God, Doge is so cheap. It's only 5 cents. And they incorrectly assume that that means it could rise to the same price as Bitcoin just as easily as Bitcoin did, not taking into account how many there are. So I don't think market caps are useless. I think they're a really good tool for speculating, because really, how else do you apply any value to this shit? There's no underlying fundamentals, at least there is now, on the price to sales on some of these DeFi protocols, real fees, blah, blah, blah. But generally speaking, these guys don't have the same sales and fundamentals you can look at anyways. So that's my take on that. Take your word for it. I can live vicariously through you for it. Scott, okay, Dash, yep. We can add Dash. Let's take a look at UTU. What does this pinned message say? UTU and Dot. Well, let's start with Dot, because I bought Dot and I like it. I don't know if I have. Oh my God. Vertical. Just the way I like it, laddie. Yeah, really nice. I mean, pump chaser zone, been obviously charting this one for a long time. Looking down here, it's like, why didn't we just accumulate forever? But we were loading in the $4 and $5 area, buying little bits. This thing is off. Let's just reset the ink. I mean, where would our last real consolidation be? Let's see what our chaos looks like. So chaos, for those of you who are around Wednesday, I got a lot of questions about it. I'm going to just draw it up a few times today, and hopefully you can kind of get a little idea of that. But basically, chaos PRZs, or potential reversal areas, give us an area, sort of a pie in the sky, can be a great place to pay myself as a trader. And sometimes it can mark tops. That's sick when it does. Like, I love when you just, I mean, what's really crazy in like Stocktown, when you just get like this crazy pump on a stock and then they'll just a wick and it comes back down. Then you're like, oh man, I wonder. And then you like look and there was like a 469 level up there. And you're just like, oh my God. So in that sense, it makes a really cool targeting tool. Shout out to Brian Beamish and Bobo and Raf and the guys over at TRI who put this thing into my wheelhouse, because without them, I wouldn't have had this. And they're just going ham with this thing. Lots of targeting and success. So, you know, in a nutshell, it's the 4669 and the 877 on a fib. And to do that, you just have to take your stock fib out and it'll be all messed up and you have to design it yourself. So you have to enter these numbers, check these boxes, pick your colors. You want to click reverse because the standard one is not reverse. So you want to make sure you reverse it. And then I align my labels on the left. I think they start on the right. That's it. And then the cool thing is on TradingView, you can actually save that template. So you see I have it saved here. So I hope that helps. And then to draw it, you just look for consolidations. So that's this, just sideways. And you know, there's some debate of exactly which of these lows on the right you want to take and then drawing to which high in the middle. I don't know that there is a perfect way. I think, you know, I don't think anyone that uses this, at least that I know, has done 500 of these, done them both ways and compared notes and said this one's better. Whatever it is, I would just say do it consistently. And then, you know, as you're newer to it, like myself, I just do it. I mess around with it. I'm like, oh, look at that. Oh, this is getting a lot of reactions. That makes sense. This makes sense. And then, you know, you're not doing anything crazy at these levels anyways, right? It's not like I'm going to sell the farm. So if I'm wrong or if it's not drawn properly or if it doesn't work the way I expected it to, I'm fine. I just move on. It's a tool. It's another tool. But I like this. I like this a lot. And it's been painting a lot of cool pictures. So drawn one way off this part of the consolidation, we're actually at a nice chaos level. Drawn the way I would probably draw this from the lowest point I can find on this consolidation to the highest point, that's up here. And then, the second one is kind of like, okay, shit, we blasted through the first. Now I'm watching here. These are not magnets, though, guys. Keep that in mind. These are not like magnets on price as much as potential resting areas, like a rest stop on a larger uptrend or a top. So potential reversal area, keyword potential, but it's not like there's some pie in this, like it's not like a magnet. Shouldn't be considered that. I mean, in a bull market, it looks like one. But typically it's more like just if this level hits, this is where I tend to pay myself if I got long from this consolidation. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, we're going to get back to the requests. Let's go vet. Got a bag of vet. Picked it up here, around here. I think I actually picked it up at like 101, 99, something like that. So these are the levels I've got drawn up. Can we get this bottom formation and breakout, nice volume, retest, slide into a reload zone at worst? It's pretty painful, but it might happen. And then do we continue up maybe through April or May? Worst case. I mean, worst case, we just don't, but worst case for like an impatient bull would be that we have to wait a month or two. This is a daily chart. So this trade is going to take weeks, not days, not hours. So you got to remember that when you size into these positions of any type, it's very hard to wait for them sometimes, especially when like other shit's going off multi-X per day. So if you're going to be patient and get into these trades, size accordingly. All right. No matter how much I like a trade, I won't go too big in it because I know that that's going to tie up my capital for potentially weeks. And I want to be liquid for other opportunities. Maybe there's some kind of news and I'm like, oh my God. Or maybe coin A pumps and coin B's just like it. And I can just confidently get into that. But if I'm just like all in on vet and I don't want to sell it a little bit underwater because I feel like this setup will take a while, but it will work, I get a tough decision in that case. So vet's good. Vet's looking good. I'm long on vet for kind of a little old lady setup for me. So I'm buying here. I have no stop loss on the position. It's sized such that that's not going to kill me. And it's, when it gets to 2x, then I'm selling half my position. And when I do that, I'll have some vet left over and it'll be essentially free and I'll just ride it. See how we go. Thing's already like a $3 billion market cap though. I was a little disappointed by that, but that's, still can get a 2x. And from there, like, let's be honest, some of the big winners in crypto in the next 10 years will probably be like 100 billion market cap. So I won't cap my imagination at that. Oh, 1 inch looks a little poopy. Be honest. Doesn't look great up here. Got a bit of an M top working on a daily. So I'm just going to come out and own that and say, doesn't look great. Not exactly, like, look at this. W, breakout, retest, go. I love this setup. I'm long on that kind of shit. Up here, maybe it's like chop sideways and RT missed it because he was thinking bearish and then it goes. But I can do better than that. I don't need to fucking trade this thing to the long side. This just looks like it's tired. So if I had a bag, I would have paid myself a little bit of it by now. I actually did have a bag. As you guys know, I farmed a whole bunch of those wallets just as a punt, thinking like, man, they might do something like Uni. And then on Christmas Eve, good old Christmas Eve, I was hanging out with my girlfriend, celebrating, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, 1 inch just did an airdrop. And I went and panic sold all of them. Not because I thought, like whatever, but it's like, wow, free money. I'll take it right now. I don't know what's going on, but I'm cashing it in. And that's fine. I have no regrets about that. That was sick. But up here, not that excited. The one thing you got to remember then, keep your perspective. This is the pump chaser zone right in here. So we did just tap off of it. So we're in a bullish trend and the pullback to this point has been fairly standard, only to the 382. There's no uber reason to get super bearish. But for new setups, I think I can do better. I generally, and this is why I have a harder time in this market state, because so many things are not in these cute little W breakout zones. So I got to start thinking about continuation trades. And for me, just doesn't look very strong. Don't know why I feel like I'm apologizing as I say that. I guess it's because I assume people watching are bullish on it. But when you're in a world of 6,000 shitcoins, you got to be selective. And there's some really nice looking charts out there. Oh, that's interesting. Look at this. NewsCrypto breakout, huge volume, very significant compared to previous trade action. And that was in September and October. And now we're just moving sideways and it's all quiet on the Western front, except look, oh, breakout on volume. What's going on over here in NewsCrypto? Because that's what you want to see. You want to see a reason to now get back in on something that's been going sideways for quite some time. Kind of like a nice little range going on here. Oops. We got a pretty well established range. And that's it. This thing's just ranging. There is no real trend on the higher time frames. So what do we look for to see if that's going to continue? Well, I think trading the range is what you should, probably do until it's not a range, which means like if you're trading trends, you're like, oh, like it's going to downtrend. I better short, but it's not. It's a range. So that means longing at range lows, paying yourself at range highs is great trading. And if you had been doing that through here patiently, you'd be, probably be doing all right. Knowing what kind of market state you're in for a coin or an asset is important. So in this one, it's ranging. And it looks really, I got to say, it looks pretty strong. We're in a bull market. I don't know what this coin does. So be aware of doing your own research. But if this, little breakout, fake out now is a breakout with volume. So pulling back. Wow, this actually looks like it's right in a zone here. So it's sitting in or just bounced out of a reload zone after a fairly significant little breakout. I mean, obviously it's within the range still, but if you want to get nitty gritty, this was not nothing. This was a big buy coming in for some reason. Somebody knows something. Somebody's thinking something. Don't ignore that kind of subtle information. So, I guess two ways to trade this. Getting long out of the reload zone after that significant activity, which we just kind of had an opportunity to do, maybe slightly past. And then getting through here is big. I mean, that shouldn't even be green. That's resistance. That, my friends, is resistance. So we'll mark it as such. Well, no, I don't know why I'm lagging today. What's going on with this lag? So, yeah, the other way to trade it is, a little fancier, but you're just kind of waiting. It's like, oh my God, it broke. And now I'm retest and go. So you're just like, I don't want to waste my time with an asset that's stuck in a range during a trending market. So I'm going to wait until it's clearly trending and then maybe get after it with some kind of fib tool. Because I love my fibs. So maybe it breaks out and goes as high as that. And then you see that the pump chaser zone is right up here. Oh, look at that. Confident with the breakout level. So see the asset go. I see it go. I track it with my fib. Holy shit. And then it gives me a nice little area to start thinking about being a bull. And then hopefully it works out the way it does so many times in a bull market, hits the pump chaser fib and then takes off. Now look at that. That's a daily chart. That's February, March, April, May. I don't know. It's a little ways out, but spent a lot of time on NewsCrypto. Let's go check the chat. A few minutes behind. Okay. Dentacoin. Yeah. DJMCG. Dentacoin was one of the ones I was thinking of. Tons of coins in circulation. Tiny little price. Yeah. Never go back to actually charting XLM. Oh, shit. Did I run from XLM? I do that a lot. Maybe we should check it versus USDT. The versus Bitcoin pair wasn't too great. Oh, my God. Look at XLM smacking into the chaos level. Cool. So there's another one. I mean, look at this stuff, guys. I mean, how many of these do we need to go over? And then we're all like, holy shit, this stuff really works. And again, doesn't really mark tops, but it sure as hell marks like random ass resistance. So enough people are looking at these apparently, or there's just some spooky action taking place at a distance. This Faugenbaum level is really putting some spooky resistances in the world. And we are at what, according to this chart, is all-time highs. I can't confirm. Is this all-time highs like ever? Probably have to go to Bittrex. Lumens were trading well before Binance was. Yeah. Well, okay. Some poor sucker bought it at $1 market buy, but looks like we're into like this crazy price discovery. So that's pretty cool. I mean, Stellar's a strong project. I can't tell you, the ins and outs of the blockchain and how it works, but they've got some IBM stuff going on. I mean, they're no spring chicken, I'll tell you. They've been around. So one to keep an eye on, as ever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that an Elliott wave complete? ABC correction incoming? I don't know. I'm not really an Elliott wave guy, but when I see 3 impulses up, I get nervous. Because then, and again, not an Elliott waves guy, but I very loosely can recognize the little cycles. And then maybe this is a valid one or it's invalid. I don't know. You'd have to get a nerdier someone than I, but then you'd have this like ABC kind of correction period. So maybe that is done, but don't take my word for it. All I know is that this is a level where I am way better off paying myself than strapping on brand new risk. And yeah, we're in a rip-roaring bull market right now. So you have to check your perspective. Is this the highest velocity of the parabola? Because these things usually end in some crazy blow off top. Maybe not. But it could get that cycle, where it's like, okay, leg 1, and then it's like, whoa, okay, leg 2, and then, okay, leg 3, and that's your bull market through the year. Who knows? So one thing I can tell you is that there's way less volume at these highs than there was at the last one. Now, we talked about it, when there's a brand new high and there's high volume, new high in volume, then I'm thinking, well, that's not the local top. Usually that comes on exhaustion. Well, here, for what it's worth, we're seeing some, I don't know, maybe this was news driven. This looks news driven. It's like out of nowhere, it just went straight up. It's usually some kind of announcement. Well, we'll see. That's my hot take on that. XRP. Oh my God. How could I forget XRP? Go take a look at it. What do I got on my chart? I love seeing old ink where I'm like, what was I thinking? This was the breakout that I traded. This was fucking sweet. Oh my God. It's the last time I really looked at this. And, pie in the sky. Look at that. Foggy bomb. Crazy. More chaos. Imagine paying yourself at all these levels all the time. Sure, the price will keep going sometimes, but sniping tops. If there's any better way to do it, I don't know how. But let's move on. That's old ink. But it's like kind of cool to have it on there, right? Because then I come back, I'm like, oh, look at that. I actually thought this might happen or whatever. Then you can see how it all played out. But if you want to know, how you would have drawn that, you just take the lowest low to the highest high of that consolidation, kick it out. Bing. I wish I actually traded it that way. I think I sold at like 56 cents on the way back down. But I mean, that still was a good trade. But things to write, so if I write in a trade journal, which I do, but not often enough, but that's the kind of thing you could record. And then over time, you're reading and reviewing your trade journal, checking your data, and suddenly you start to optimize. So instead of this good trade, 28 cents to 56, I make a great trade and I actually slam it closed at the foggy level without thinking and looking back. That's sort of like where I see myself in 2 years, being like, remember when I used to not have this like ironclad set of rules for every little trade to optimize? It really is a long game here, boys and ladies. Where are we now? Well, we had the SEC coming in saying, we hate you. You suck. We're suing you. You screwed up your public sale, selling securities. Unlicensed security sale. Okay, well, there was definitely like reason to not be long on it, because I remember saying, like, why the hell would I long that right now? Even down here, it's like, well, there's probably 6-year narratives. But on the other side, at the same time, Ripple has a lot of money. They're probably going to be okay if they get sued. It's not like they're going to prison. They're going to be fined. They're going to pay. And then they're going to continue. That's sort of how white-collared crime goes, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending who you ask, I guess. So not too shocked to see them kicking around in a bull market. Pump chaser zone. Definitely some interest here from the bulls. I would I would say, probably want to get a weekly. Ooh, looks like I had a weekly. This is a big weekly level. We smashed through it on the way down, but let's look at what we're. Whoa, okay, let's get rid of all that. Yeah, I mean, look, oh God, what's that all about? There's like one little bit of lag on my chart today. I can't figure out why. I think. Oh wait. Ah, I fixed it. Okay, it's because my rendezvous is full screen. Note to self. Okay, wow, that was annoying. Now we're back. Anyways, the lag was messing me up. So look, yeah, this looks good. Let's just say on a weekly, you can't deny it. Looks pretty good in a sort of technical way. Bottom, 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 breakout, retest, drama, 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 continue. Now, what does a weekly Falcon Bomb level look like? Let's take a look at the chaos from this viewpoint. Pretty sick. Pretty sick. Is that what this year is going to look like for some of these coins? I want to say probably. So $2, $3. Not calling those price targets, but if they ever got there, that would be a big, fat, juicy take profit for me. Maybe I do need to look at that pump chaser zone a little closer. I don't know. XRP is not really the coin I like to chart, trade. Okay, guys, we are getting. Oh, we're past the top of the hour. Okay, we're gonna give it 5 more minutes. Turbo quick time as we wrap up this week, heading into the weekend. Keep an eye on Bitcoin. This thing is going bananas right now. I think that's the most important thing to pay attention to. We're going to want to watch the ETH BTC ratio. It does not look like this level will hold. Rest in peace, my long. Stop loss is going to hit. Maybe. Sure as hell not about to close it here, but it's looking pretty dire. Although I am seeing some big fat 1,000 ETH buys in the books that are protecting my level. So we'll see. But yeah, it's not looking great. So womp womp. I have mostly spot ETH. I just tried to add to it because I'm greedy with a little Bitcoin on margin. So as is the case, sometimes the right idea done at the wrong time. I do think ETH will outperform, but chart says I'm wrong for now. SNX. Wow. Yeah. I mean, not sure what to say about this one. Strong trend, pulling back. If it is going to top here, it would have to probably come up and fail at some kind of short reload zone. So I wouldn't panic on this particular pullback myself. Staring at the dollar value of a position on a portfolio tracker is a really good way to feel fear and panic. Staring at a chart and understanding what you're looking for and then just searching for it makes it a lot easier to pay attention to. And so when I look at a position, I'm like, holy shit, it's underwater. I make sure I don't do anything dumb like on my phone in bed and just close it on Binance. Like I go look at my charts and I say, well, it's here. But generally, markets come up and like to have battles at transition levels before they actually do anything. I mean, that's just if it's going down. I don't know. This is a really strong uptrend. I don't know why I started off with such a bearish maybe. But yeah, what's a Falcon Bomb look like on that? If it's into one of those, I'd be a little more cautious. Ha! Look at that. Come on, guys. Can we just put this thing on the map? I mean, God, I'm probably going to price myself out of it now. If it becomes too popular, these things will start getting front run. They won't hit as well. So let's maybe just keep this here in the Hero Labs community. TRI, the originators, it's really there in their community. But if I can just extend it to this one other community, let's just cap it there, fellas. Because look at that shit. That's insane. Yeah, Ryan, I will. That's on the top of my list. I want to do a chaos thing. But like I just said, it's almost like it's so simple to apply and it's so friggin' effective that it's the first time since Wednesday with how many people ask me about it now. Like it's the first time ever that I've been nervous. I'm like, oh, fuck, should I even be like making this thing famous? We make this thing famous and it stops working. What a waste. I never really imagined that anything I did in trading would be that kind of risk. You know, most things at the highest level firms, everything's top secret, right? It's like our edge is our edge and it's our edge alone. I don't really care. Like, I just like to teach. I like to share, I like to grow together. But this is the first time I was like, God damn it. Messy and everybody picks this up and we start tweeting it out and it just goes crazy. And then the whole friggin' crypto Twitter's looking at these things. They will get front run. Ugh, we'll see. I guess if that's going to happen, at least we can say we started it, right? Again, I fully borrowed this from TRI, so this is not my invention. Shout out to those fellas. But wow. Oh, we'll just end there. We're going to end on SNX, bringing it home with the Chaos PRZ. And then I guess, you know, for those holding bag that are wondering how far, how fast, when's bearish, I mean, anything into here is still part of an uptrend, a healthy, normal uptrend. It's an ugly way to do it, but that's usually how the chart looks, kind of ugly. You know, that's totally normal, business as usual. And yet, after this kind of dopamine, what are you thinking after, you know, 3 weeks of this? You're like, I'm getting out of here, this shit. And then you look back, it's uncanny how often like you just sell that bottom. So I can't tell you what to do with your bag, but if you didn't pay yourself here or here or here and you got in down here, I don't know what you're waiting for, man. I would not want to sit through every leg of this cycle without paying myself. Oh, there we go. There we go. Stop loss hit as expected. Another one bites the dust. So, you know, this is why we manage risk, fellas. Not sweating this one bit. This is what it is. We're back in Bitcoin. The Bitcoin I put up for risk against ETH has been stopped. Let's see. Why is that? Because Bitcoin's ripping. So, you know, ETH is kind of ripping too. Apparently not as fast. That sucks. I picked the slower horse. But that's why we use stop losses. So now I'm just automatically back into Bitcoin. We'll see. You know, I don't love that. I'll have to keep looking at this. You know, if it reclaims on some aggressive candle and then starts to look, I might take a double bullet here. But for now, my risk window has been capped. It sucks too, because I was looking at it this morning and I was like, you know what? It's such a big high time frame potential pivot. Like, why wouldn't they sweep those lows? Do I really want my stop loss there? But I decided I did. So, no, well. Journal. Moving on. Have a nice weekend. Yes. Okay. Appreciate you guys. We're going to get back to the studio here. The Brio. Hello. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. We got B2 Wins and Chris and Scott and Ryan. Appreciate all you guys. Jordan, everybody here. Urea. Thank you for spending this time with me and the producer and Hero Labs on this Friday afternoon. Whatever you do over the weekend, just make sure you keep your shirt on, manage risk, take care of yourself, take care of your account. Because if you don't have that anymore, can't really play. BTC is going ham. Is that the report we're getting? Oh, it's going ham. Yeah. Makes me a little uncomfortable. Like I said, I did switch a lot out to wait. Oh, that's static. I thought I was looking at the studio screen. I thought that was live. Okay. Well, either way, guys, let's have a nice Bitcoin rally weekend, because you know what comes after a big Bitcoin rally? A big Ethereum rally. And after that, the majors. And after that, the mid caps and then the micros. And there's our leg two theory. It's always led by Bitcoin. So this is really good news. Even if short term, there's a few stop loss bells ringing on Bitcoin pairs. It just is what it is. It's the way we go. We work our way up in a zigzag formation. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and always play from a position of strength. Take care.